Hello everyone, this is Zeeebo and welcome back to yet another Etheria restart video. So for this video, we're going to talk about another new unit, this time around the Husbando Borgne, Nocturnal Prayer right here. So this vampire lord is actually pretty powerful based off the synergies of the kit. So let us run through what this unit wants to do, okay? So first skill, Darkness Devoured, dealing damage to a single target while recovering HP, 60% of the damage dealt. So more damage you do, the more HP you can recover. Passive, right, increases max HP by 500% of self attack, and each attack also deals additional damage equals to 30% of his max HP. So Borgne cannot land crit hits. So this is something to take note of, and I'll explain like what I feel is the ideal way to build him. So this skill basically means that the more attack you have, the more HP you will get. And the more HP you will get, the more damage you will get off the passive over here. So it's a cycle there. And because he can't actually crit with the passive over here, I think building crit on... I think he's probably one of the easier units to build. It's just building attack and speed so that he's able to sort of run through the speed meter as soon as possible and then launch his attack. And then having more attacks just means that he has more HP as well. And this is where he can do a lot of damage while life stealing back and also killing the enemy at the same time. So that's probably the ideal build for him. Could have a better build out there, but that's what I feel like people should be and would be building him with once he goes to the global server. Next one, last skill, Star Caller. This is an AoE skill if there's 4 or more. It's not more than 4. It's like if there's only like 4 enemies, it will still deal this amount of damage. So this is an AoE skill that does 440% damage to all enemies with 100% chance to dispel 1 buff. So in a PvP setting, you can dispel your Lily buff, you can dispel your Doki buff, you can dispel your Rosa crit buff. So you can dispel both offensive buff and defensive buff. And I think in a bossing situation, if there's a need to dispel 1 buff, I think you can use Borgne as a carry with the potential debuff from this skill itself. So that's for the debuff side. And then for one enemy defeated, he will be able to launch 1 extra hit to deal additional damage, and this attack ignores the target's passive skills. So this is actually pretty game changing, but provided the PvP meta is passive centric, because if we take a look at the roster right here, let's see, it's not a lot of passive based units to begin with. Like we have Siada, which is one that increases her DPS, so you might be able to sort of slow down Siada's passive. You also have Rahu, so I guess Borgne might be a good unit to counter Rahu's passive, but then Rahu's passive is one which he gains Wrath, and like this Wrath increases the defense which decreases damage, right? But Wrath is not part of the passive. The passive is this. So this one gives you Wrath, so when he's attacking, you bypass this skill, but then like you don't actually shut down this skill from preventing it from coming into effect. So that's one thing that's kind of awkward of the ignore passive so far. Like if we go scroll down right here, I think, well, right, Celine's has okay, so I guess to a certain extent the ignore passive is insanely good against more defensive passives, because this is when he attacks, he ignores their passive, right? So even if you ignore the offensive passive during your turn, it doesn't matter that much because like the opponent's not attacking you. But when you're using Borgne to attack them, you want to break through all these shielding passives or defensive reduction passives. So I think that's why there could be a possibility that if the meta or your bracket in the future is very defensive passive centric, this is actually a pretty powerful passive breaker in the team itself. So without further ado, let us showcase the power of Borgne in battle. Let's go. Okay, so right here we're going to showcase one match with him. I think the biggest problem with Borgne, even though this unit has an impressive stat as well as a really powerful kit itself, there's 2 major problems in the current meta I see, because like based on what I observe, right, crit damage, crit hit, as well as all the different crit related buffs or units, they're actually pretty meta, they're actually really good, and him not being able to crit shuts down that possibility of him being buffed up by all those units, unfortunately. Like crit hit is a major thing in the meta, and another thing is his ultimate ignores passive, but there isn't really a lot of passive centric units that are running around, at least based on what we observe so far. So like maybe if the meta is very passive centric, Star Caller is going to be game changing because you just ignore the defensive passive itself. And then right, for this part, if they could actually increase the numbers before the official release, could be a lot better. Or maybe they just like reduce the crit damage he could do, because like him not being able to learn crit hit is actually quite a massive drawback in my honest take. So like usually Hendrik is actually pretty good, right, together with a lot of units, because last word is able to boost up your crit damage. But the thing is, if you can't crit, then you can't benefit from this one. So that's that. But we're still going to showcase it with Hendrik right here. So Hendrik will be the carry, speed up. So this is him not being able to crit but able to AoE. So we'll kill Rosa with this skill. Osh! Okay, nice. Beyonce is gonna skill and then just revive. Okay, Sanya is gonna buff up Borgne, give him more HP so that the passive can give more attack boost. Hendrik is gonna be the main carry because Hendrik has the debuff as well as the crit. Bam! Oh, look at the damage that my Hendrik is able to do. The reason why Hendrik is able to hit so hard is because my Hendrik actually has crit damage and crit set, right? But you can't actually use crit damage nor crit onto Borgne cause like he doesn't benefit from it. Okay, ignore passive goes onto Beyontin, and then Beyontin and Linglord doesn't actually run off passive. Okay, follow up damage to kill. And then we kill. Yeah, we pretty much got it in the back. So there's a follow up attack from the ultimate skill itself, Star Caller. Life steal heals up a little bit. Another problem with regards to the life steal, right, is that I think Borgne on paper sounds good, but the thing is like he's actually quite frail based off the base stats in general. So what this means is that like he can still be bursted down even though he has this passive which increases the max HP, but if the opponent hits hard enough, he might not have enough space to heal. And if you purely buff up attack, like what I'm doing is attack and speed itself, right? You definitely need speed control for him to cycle through as fast as possible for that sustain of the life steal with all this AoE and the passive ability in general. So that's pretty much it, just a simple showcase of this unit so far. And do remember to like and subscribe to see more. I'll see you guys again in my next video. Bye guys.